It's time for Where You Live with Gene and Tony, the show that's all about owning, buying, selling, renting, and association management. If it involves a home, we'll talk about it. Here's your chance to get your homeowner questions answered. From the Concierge Landscape Studios, here's Gene and Tony.
Needed the shelter of someone's arms, and there you were. Needed someone to understand my ups and downs.
Welcome back to Hour 2 of Where You Live with Gene and Tony. We've been having some great discussion today. In the first hour, we talked to a gentleman from New York who has a part of a homeowners association that didn't have an election for 9 years. And they were working hard, and the homeowners, I think, were beginning to organize to take control and take back their homeowner association.
Yeah.
We've got a lot more to cover this morning, too. A little bit later, we're going to take a look at the state of Nevada, which has just recently decided through the state legislature to limit or put a ceiling on the amount of money that a homeowner association can get in terms of reimbursement for collections of a delinquent homeowner. We're going to talk about whether or not that is good policy, or is it putting an unreasonable burden on the homeowners in terms of costs. But we're happy to have with us now in the second hour a special guest, Miss Leah Drabchak, on the phone from the Coon Rapids City and a housing inspector. Good morning, Leah.
Good morning. How are you?
Very good. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
And, folks, if you'd like to be part of the discussion, if you have a question you'd like to ask Leah, too, give us a call. That number, 651-289-4488. If I can, Leah, I was impressed when I read this article from the Star Tribune earlier this week that talked about you and the work that you're doing in Coon Rapids. And I'm sorry to say, I guess I'm a little bit jaded when I usually think of my experience with a number of government workers. I usually think of someone that is more concerned with the process and bureaucracy than in help. But I've got to say, you have really been working hard in your area here in trying to do some problem solving, and you've had to be very diplomatic with a lot of homeowners in Coon Rapids.
Yes, well, thank you. I think most people's perception of government workers is what you just described, but I can honestly say the people that I work with, and it's not just me. I mean, it's everybody from our attorneys to our fighter fighters, our police department. Everyone works together to help me. We want to give the people in crisis a resolution that is suited specifically for them. We can't just make a blanket statement and say, this is what we do, because every case is unique as every person is.
Yeah.
And we have a responsibility, me especially, if we do involve the city, that's taxpayer dollars. So between the city and the county, so we need to make sure to spend that so incredibly wisely.
Yeah.
Because that we have a huge responsibility to our taxpayers. And
for our listeners, we want to let you know that what we're talking about here is Leah's been a housing inspector for the city of Coon Rapids, and a lot of what you've been working with over the last few years, there's been, the article said, a large focus where you're dealing with an individual in crisis, specifically people that have, for example, a garbage home, someone who's been a hoarder. A lot of folks think that may not be something that, hey, it's not really bothering me if someone's got extra trash in their house, but there are extra concerns, isn't there?
Yes. It really comes down to public safety. The potential for these homes of harming someone other than the owner is higher than the average home. And we explain this to the owner, they are very remorseful. Some of the issues that make those homes more dangerous is the fuel loads are very high. anything that burns is contributing to your fuel load. So the fire will burn hotter, faster, and longer, and can spread to other homes more quickly, especially in a townhome or a condo situation, or if the homes are densely populated. And the smoke, it just makes it much tougher for the fire department to even fight these fires.
Now,
I want to ask you,
go ahead, Tony.
Is this a growing problem? Or has there been some change in this issue?
I don't think it's growing per se. I think we're more aware of it. Some cities even now take the stance that if the privately held, if it's not an apartment, they don't look at it. And with Coon Rapids, we feel we owe that to, number one, the people living there, but our rescue personnel. Even in the case of a medical emergency, if you can imagine, if someone's room is filled, we can't get a gurney in there. You can't get a person down to even do CPR. And we have had cases where people have, tripping and falling as they're trying to maneuver through their things. They have a medical emergency, and our firefighters and medics are bent over in these peculiar positions to try to literally carry the person out. Now, they're having to walk over all this stuff carrying somebody. So if they fall, they can get injured, or they can further injure the person. In medical, you need that immediate attention. We can't be meandering through your house to get you on the front lawn to administer CPR, and in some cases that has happened.
And like you said, it's especially a concern in multifamily housing, because that person who may be a hoarder, they're going to more directly affect if they have pests and vermin in their home. That's going to spread to their neighbors next door.
And it's amazing to me. At first, I didn't really understand that, because normally with associations, your garbage service is part of your dues. So really, you're just taking the trash out to your corner or to the end of your drive. But we do see an increased amount of hoarding in attached living, and those take high priority for us. And we process those more aggressively than maybe a single family as far as reducing the fire load. Because you're sharing there with the people.
Right, you're sharing walls. This has been a big issue for property managers in both townhome and condo association management and in rental management. It's frustrating for us because we don't exactly know how to tackle it. We do not want to cause someone to lose their housing. And often that's the ultimate solution. Where should we start? I have a resident in a rental property who is a hoarder, and we talk to her every month about it. But ultimately what it got down to was the city would fine the property if she didn't clean it up, and then the property would have to evict her. What's a better solution?
Okay, for the city of Coon Rapids, I don't ever fine anybody. There are no fines to any of the services we provide, none. If we have to pay a vendor to do a cleanup, we assess that back to the taxes, but we do not add any other staff time to it, and we don't add any administrative fines.
So you're saying if you discover a renter who is hoarding and who will not respond to you, there's no fines to the property owner?
There's not any fines. Now, there may be, if we have to hire and pay a vendor to clean it out, they would have to incur that cost, but we do not add any admin fines. We don't add citations, nothing. Don't feel that that's a motivator. And really, we're just hurting the owner because those assessments go back to that parcel PIN number. So that's not the tenant issue. It hurts the landlord. And 9 times out of 10, they're working with us to try to alleviate
and we
this.
want to. But if we have to spend extra money to clean up that unit, that person's in danger of losing their housing.
That is possible.
Yeah.
We have counseling services. I would say your first step is to contact the city, the municipality that you're in, and ask what services that they provide. With Coon Rapids, we provide everything. We work with our local garbage haulers to get extended times on dumpsters without an additional charge. We work with, we have a free cleanup 4 times a year where we provide dumpsters that are donated, and we let people bring whatever they want for a specific amount of time. We have counseling services that work. Our counselors at the Family Life Center right on Coon Rapids Boulevard and Hanson Boulevard We have 4 therapists that work specifically with hoarders, so we can change the behavior. And we work very closely with the people to implement these changes, because it's just going to make them better and healthier and happier in the end. That's our hope.
That's great. I'd like to ask you a little bit more about the process, how you started, and give us walk us through a specific case. I'd also like to ask a little bit too, Leah. Is there a certain demographic that you're seeing a little bit more often than other in terms of the type of person that is a hoarder? But we need to take a break right now. Folks, we've got a lot more with Where You Live. We're talking about what a person can do when you're dealing with a neighbor who might be a hoarder or have a garbage home. We've got some great solutions. We'll be back after this.
It's the most